Good afternoon, wherever you are watching us on Majo Television Network. I am Wole Akinbasote, and we are broadcasting from our digital studio in Akure, Ondo State, Nigeria. Here's a breakdown of the latest developments regarding U.S. consideration of military action in Nigeria, and of course the surrounding context of the situation. Now let's discuss what the U.S. government is saying. The U.S. President Donald Trump has publicly stated that the U.S. could deploy troops on Nigerian soil or carry out airstrikes in Nigeria, citing what he described as record numbers of Christians being killed.
If the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria. We're going to do things to Nigeria that Nigeria is not going to be happy about and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns are blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. I'm hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet, just like the terrorist thugs attack our cherished Christians. These are cherished people. These are great people. Leave them alone. Warning, the Nigerian government better move fast before it's too late. If they don't, there's going to be hell to pay.
In Nigeria, President Trump said he has ordered the United States Department of Defense to actually prepare for possible action. Well, the officials in the U.S. military and through United States Command, AFRICOM, reportedly drafted 3 intervention options, and these 3 intervention options are: we have the light, medium, and heavy for Nigeria. Well, let's analyze all these options. The light option is enhanced support. These enhanced supports include intel and logistics, and of course, joint operation. Now, when we go to the medium options, the medium options involves drone strikes, while the heavy options will involve carrier strike groups and long-range bombing. Now, in this situation, what are Nigerians and others are saying about this situation? The Nigerian government firmly rejected unilateral U.S. military intervention. They are stressing sovereignty, and that violence in Nigeria affects both Christians and Muslims, not only one religious group. Of course, there's significant pushback from Nigerian society. Of course, many Nigerians in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, that is specifically in abroad, they oppose foreign military intervention on their soil. Nigeria also highlighted that any cooperation must be respect its territorial integrity, and that security challenges are complex. When we talk of security challenges, we are talking of insurgency, the resources, the conflicts, and of course the communal violence, not solely religious persecution. These are the things that Nigerians are saying, and here are the key details of the context of the discussion. President Trump labeled Nigeria as a country of particular concern and ordered the U.S. law for alleged violations of religious freedom. The arms contest Prior to this statement, the US approved a potential $346 million weapon sale to Nigeria to bolster its security capabilities. And of course, the US has previously stated that there are no plans to establish a permanent military base in Nigeria. Whereas some analysts and officials, they view the US threat and planning as more of a diplomatic leverage tool than an imminent large-scale deployment. Well, at this point, there's no deployment that has actually occurred. At least according to some open sources, these are all threats, plans, and like conditional actions. Well, as at now, the scenario of US military intervention remains fluid. The US government has signaled willingness to act, but intervention would raise serious legal sovereignty, diplomatic logistic, and of course, regional stability issues. Well, let's look at Nigeria's part of it. Nigeria's rejection and the complexity of the security situation mean that any intervention will be risky.
We believe the President of America should listen to good voices from this country, reliable and honest voices from this country, and rethink over this his so-called decision.
Mr. Trump has interior motive. Is not to our own advantage. There are more to it. So I think, if you ask me, I advise Mr. President, our President, Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu, to find a political solution to it.
So what Donald Trump is saying is true. People are dying and it's getting out of hand. So if we believe that they should not come, we should do something about it.
Well, the drafting of light, medium, stroke heavy options shows the US is preparing frameworks before deciding to act, which of course suggests that this is still early stage, and we did our research, and here is a summary of what is publicly known so far about possible US military involvement in Nigeria, which including the units and frameworks under discussion. None of this shows an active deployment confirmed yet. Now let's talk about what is known. Well, according to reports, United States African Command, AFRICOM, has drafted 3 contingency plans for possible operations in Nigeria. We have the light, we have the medium, and of course, we have the heavy options. The light option will involve supporting Nigerian forces. Supporting Nigerian forces include intelligence sharing, surveillance, and logistics, and of course, partner-enabled operation. Now, when we go to the medium option, reportedly considered drone strikes on militant camps, convoys, and vehicles inside Nigeria, and vehicles inside Nigeria. The heavy option would involve deploying larger US assets, that is the carrier strike groups, and of course long-range strike. But it's said to be less likely at this moment because USA AFRICOM or USA AFRICOM former postal statement in April 2025 emphasizes that approach is African partner-led, US and ally enabled, and highlight the importance of training, exercises, intelligence sharing rather than large-scale ground invasion. As of now, there is no credible public record of a formal Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) between the US and Nigeria, specifically authorizing large-scale US military intervention in Nigeria. I did not locate a verified MOU or bilateral defense treaty covering this reported intervention scenario. There is no official confirmation that US troops are currently entering Nigeria for the purpose described. And there is no public discussion or disclosure of which specific US units like the Special Operations and Air Assets are prepositioned for this Nigeria scenario. No clear formal bilateral agreement released in open sources that gives legal basis for US ground action inside Nigeria under these plans. Well, of course, it remains unclear whether the
task ahead is immense. We are engaging the world diplomatically, and we assure all of you that we will, defeat terrorism.
We recognize the passion and the zeal that President Donald Trump has demonstrated wanting to help Nigeria, and we welcome that as long as that respects our territorial integrity. And what we welcome in this collaboration is they know, Americans know that we need high-tech fighter jets, we need high-tech equipment, we need high-tech machinery for the purposes of curtailing and destroying this Boko Haram. But the idea of coming militarily into our soil will violate international order, will violate international convention, and it will not be good, because Nigeria is not a hostile country. Nigeria is a partner with the American government in many respects. We have shared destiny, we have shared interests in democracy, promoting the rule of law, we have exchange program, we share intelligence. So Nigeria is not a hostile country that America will have to come militarily to intervene in our internal affairs. However, we acknowledge, just like the Donald Trump, that there is a case of killing in Nigeria and is concerning. Our differences is that we object to the notion that the killing is targeted at a religion, because the whole idea of a Christian genocide is a hoax that was commenced by a separatist group in Nigeria, and their intention is so that intervention from foreign government will create a discord in Nigeria, probably put Nigeria into a problem, and that's why we said we reject that, but we welcome support as long as it helps in advancing what we're doing.
Nigeria has voiced strong objections to unilateral US government intervention. Well, here are key points to watch. If the US proceed with the light option, it would likely involve increased intelligence sharing, surveillance flights, joint operations within the Nigerian military rather than large-scale US ground forces. Now, let's look at the medium and heavy option. The medium and heavy options will raise substantial legal, logistics, and of course diplomatic challenges, and these diplomatic challenges will include sovereignty issues, basing, and of course supply lines. Whether Nigeria formally rejects or accepts such as US assistance will be a major determinant of whether this moves from planning to action. Well, monitoring official statements from the Pentagon, AFRICOM, and the Nigerian Ministry of Defense will be key for confirmation of any deployment. Now, what are the public statements from Nigerian government? Well, it is, as at now, it is well known that Nigeria has rejected the US threat of unilateral military action. Nigerian government actually insists that any assistant must respect its sovereignty, and there is no public verified agreement or MOU authorizing US combat forces to operate inside Nigeria right now. Well, here are the bearing facts with sources and brief assessment what Nigeria has said. The Nigerian government publicly rejected President Trump's threat to send US troops or carry out strikes, calling the claims misleading and stressing Nigeria's sovereignty, while saying it will welcome international assistance only if it respects territorial integrity and is agreed with Nigeria. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his spokesman have pushed back on this characterization of the violence as purely religious and have said they are open to talks on counter-terrorism cooperation. Again, with sovereignty as a precondition, Pastor Adeboye reacted to the US military intervention and sent a public message to Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
If I were asked to make suggestions, I would say quietly to our government, move fast. Move diplomatically. Move wisely. Find a way to convince the President of America to please delay his actions for about 100 days. And then come home. And tell our security chiefs get rid of these terrorists within 90 days or resign.
Regional and international responses into this situation. The African Union and many Nigerian civil society groups publicly emphasized Nigeria's right to manage its internal affairs and warned against foreign military intervention. Is there a US-Nigeria legal basis for intervention, like the MOU basin and so on and so forth? Of course, there is no verified memorandum of understanding or treaty that authorizes US combat operations on Nigerian soil. There are bilateral aviation agreement though, that is a US-Nigeria open skies stroke air transport agreement in force for civil aviation, but this is not a military base or combat operation authorization. Now, let's look at what the US has done or planned as a public reporting. US media and defense reporting says the Pentagon stroke AFRICOM has drafted contingency options. The US administration has re-added Nigeria to its country of particular concern list on religious freedom, which preceded the directive. And here are the bottom line assessment. As of now, threats and planning only in public sources. There are no confirmed US troops deployed or legally disclosed authorization to use force inside Nigeria. Any move from planning to action will bring hinge on a Nigerian government invitation or agreement. 2. US legal authority. And 3. Major diplomatic stroke region responses. I'm Wole Akinbasote. Thanks for watching Majo Television Network. We shall continue to update you on safe story next time on this channel, Majo Television Network. Please do not just watch Majo Television Network on YouTube, but also support us by subscribing to our channel down below. Thank you.